The story begins with Yuta finishing a basketball game with his friend Ashura when a girl named Odin suddenly appears and claims to be an all-knowing god. Yuta, confused, tries to ask who she is, but Odin interrupts him, correctly guessing his question and revealing her name. She continues to predict what Yuta will do or say next, impressing him. Eventually, Odin says she wants to join Yuta and Ashura in their basketball game. Yuta agrees and introduces her to Ashura. Ashura initially thinks Odin is a lost child and suggests they take her to the police, but Odin throws a fit, demanding respect and worship. Ashura then passes the ball to Odin, who asks if something good will happen if she makes a basket. Surprised, Ashura tries to take the ball back, suggesting they really should take Odin to the police. Yuta calms the situation, explaining they're on a break from studying for exams. However, Odin declares that the world will end in 30 days, which Yuta and Ashura dismiss. Ashura decides to leave, and Yuta, who has a date later, stays behind. After Ashura leaves on his motorcycle, Yuta and Odin introduce themselves. Odin throws another tantrum when she finds out Yuta's surname is Great Sun God, while hers is just Sato. She reveals more about herself, and Yuta, in a hurry to meet someone named Izanami at the library, gets annoyed when Odin keeps interrupting. Odin decides to follow him to the library. Although Yuta is reluctant because of how Odin is dressed, he agrees as long as she behaves. Along the way, Odin buys an umbrella, and they walk together. Yuta jokes about the umbrella, but then it suddenly rains. When they try to take the bus leaves without them. They continue walking and the rain stops. Eventually, they reach the library where Yuta meets Kyuko, who is surrounded by admirers. But soon, Yuta is kicked out for causing a scene. Outside, Yuta and Odin discuss the supposed end of the world. Yuta is skeptical, while Odin insists it's true and will be caused by humanity's mistakes. To prove her point, Odin channels Natsume Soseki, but Yuta remains unconvinced. Odin's stomach growls, showing she's hungry, so Yuta agrees to buy her ramen if she goes back home after eating. At the ramen shop, the owner mistakenly thinks Yuta and Odin are together, much to Yuta's embarrassment. While they eat, Odin correctly predicts the winner of a horse race on TV, impressing the shop owner. Still skeptical, Yuta watches as Odin accurately predicts the next race's outcome. The ramen shop owner gets excited and urges Yuta to use Odin's powers to make them rich. Panicked, Yuta leaves money for their meal and rushes out, dragging Odin with him, while the shop owner begs them to return. As they walk near a highway, Yuta is overwhelmed by Odin's true knowledge. She offers to stay with him until the world ends, allowing him to use her omniscience however he wishes. Yuta decides he wants to use her power to pass his college entrance exams and be accepted into the same college as Kyuko. However, Odin reminds him that the world will end in 30 days, making this impossible. Though she regrets staying with Yuta, she agrees to help him impress Kyuko. Odin reveals that Kyuko loves baseball and suggests Yuta focus on that to win her over. Yuta, who has always been into basketball, is thrown into a panic. To help him, Odin arranges for him to play in a baseball game where he will attempt a grand slam to win. Afterward, Odin arranges a baseball game for Yuta to impress Kyuko, but despite following her advice, things don't go as planned. Frustrated, Yuta confronts Odin, blaming her for setting him up to fail, and tells her that Kyuko witnessed everything. Odin then encourages him to be honest with Kyuko, as the world is ending in less than 30 days. Yuta takes her advice and confesses his feelings, but Kyuko flatly rejects him, leaving him mortified. Yuta, humiliated, asks Odin to go home, but she refuses, suggesting instead that she live with him for the time being. She even claims that if he asks his parents, they'll agree to let her stay. Yuta's mother, Takiko, agrees when he explains the situation, and Odin introduces herself as Hina. Yuta, finding her name quite common, laughs, but Hina throws a tantrum. Takiko sides with Hina, calling her by her real name, which pleases her. Yuta expects his father, Daichi, to disagree, but to his surprise, Daichi also agrees to let her stay. At dinner, Yuta's younger sister, Sora, is intrigued by Hina. To Hina's dismay, Sora's full name roughly translates to Sky God, and she also learns that Yuta's parents govern over Earth and time. Despite feeling inferior, Hina asserts her own divine status. Later, Yuta and Hina relax in Yuta's room, and he tries to study. Hina interrupts, reminding him about the world's impending end. Instead, they play an RPG video game until Hina falls asleep. While Hina sleeps, Yuta's parents discuss her stay, agreeing that they'll make sure she's comfortable. The next day, Yuta talks about his relationship with Kyuko and her introverted personality due to her mother's death. Hina offers to help him again with its secret plan, involving Sora's summer film project. Sora films a movie outside where Yuta plays an astronaut trying to save the world from a meteor. The plan is a disaster, as Yuta doesn't kiss Kyuko at the end, but Sora is satisfied with the result. Hina suggests other movie ideas, but they all fail. Eventually, Yuta and Hina enjoy some watermelon and discuss more ways to impress Kyuko. Since Kyuko is studying sound psychology, Hina proposes composing a song for her. Though Yuta isn't a skilled musician, Hina writes a song for him to learn on the piano. Over time, Yuta masters the song and contacts Kyuko to perform it for her. At Kyuko's house, Yuta plays the song on her piano, but she takes over and plays it herself. The song's sound is uplifting, and when it ends, Yuta tells her it was composed by a goddess. Instead of asking her out, Yuta invites Kyuko to study with him in the library, and she agrees. Later that night, the Narukami family enjoys dinner together. Though Yuta is disappointed he couldn't confess his true feelings, he's content with the progress he's made. Takiko mentions that Sora isn't home, but Daichi reveals she's at her senpai's house learning how to write a movie script. Takiko accidentally drops the plates, which some believe is a bad omen. Just then, Sora returns, bruised, along with her senpai. As it turns out, Sora's injuries were caused by her senpai fleeing from a moneylender. Hina decides to help Sora's senpai, Hikari, and Daichi and Takiko offer to listen to everything. Hikari's family runs a ramen shop, but they're deep in debt due to a loan with outrageous interest. Hina comes up with a plan to help Hikari's ramen shop by creating a unique new ramen dish that will catch people's attention. Since Hina can't cook due to her divine attire, she enlists Yuta's help. After reading Hina's secret plan, Yuta goes to the ramen shop in disguise. Once there, he orders the house special, the heavenly ramen, and after tasting it and exploring the restaurant, he concludes that there's nothing wrong with the shop. After finishing his meal, he gives Hikari a card, claiming to be a ramen revitalizer offering his services for a low price of 100 yen a day. Though Hikari is hesitant, Yuta convinces her that he can revitalize the shop within 3 days. The first step is changing the shop's name from Ramen Heavenward to Fallen Angel. Next, they adjust the recipe for the house specialty by adding MSG, though the shop had previously avoided additives. The new ramen tastes much better. They then discuss how to promote the shop on social media, and just as they're about to create a new cold ramen dish, Sora arrives to help. She assists with placing the new sign and tries the cold ramen, which is a success. That night, back at the Narukami residence, Yuta learns from Hina that the shop's work isn't over yet. A news crew will arrive the next day to shoot a commercial. The commercial is grand and focuses heavily on Yuta's false persona. Meanwhile, a young man named Hiroto, watching the commercial, mocks it and asks his driver, Raida, to buy him takoyaki. Raida reluctantly agrees and gets the takoyaki for Hiroto. Later, Hiroto uses his hacking skills to help a mother find her missing daughter. Back at the ramen shop, it's thriving, but their work isn't done. That night, a loan shark arrives with a loan contract, but Hina snatches it away. Following Hina's instructions, Yuta fights the loan shark and defeats him, causing the shark to flee. Hikari is grateful to Yuta, Hina, and Sora for their help. Meanwhile, Hiroto is working tirelessly to gather information on a physicist named Shuichiro Kurogi. After hitting dead ends, he learns that the CEO has arranged an interview with Dr. Isama, a co-author of Kurogi's thesis. Hiroto hacks into the interview and overhears them discussing a thesis on love and happiness, which is impossible to quantify. It's speculated that Kurogi wanted to achieve this for someone in his family. At the Narukami residence, Yuta watches a TV interview with a celebrity lawyer named Keiko. Hina notices his interest in her and asks about it. Yuta explains how he admires her. Later, Hina, seemingly innocently playing mahjong on Yuta's computer, reveals she set him up to compete in an upcoming tournament. Surprisingly, Keiko organized the tournament, despite Yuta having no experience with mahjong. The next day, Ashura and Kyuko meet up with Yuta to cheer him on. Yuta wears his father's suit, just borrowing it for the day. Before the tournament starts, Keiko speaks to the players, wishing them luck, which motivates Yuta to do his best. However, during the game, Yuta performs terribly, losing all his points in just 2 hands. He remembers Hina's advice and puts it into practice, making a strong comeback. Following her guidance, Yuta wins the tournament. Afterward, backstage with his trophy, Yuta is approached by Keiko, who tries to seduce him and invite him to the victory party. Yuta, however, rejects her, saying he's in an unrequited relationship with another woman. Keiko doesn't take kindly to the rejection and orders her bodyguard to apprehend Yuta. In the scuffle, the bodyguard tears the left sleeve of Yuta's father's suit. Yuta manages to escape, regrouping with Hina and Ashura. He learns that Kyuko had left earlier, and only 13 days remain until the world ends.